Hi, everyone. So my name is Will Yarbrough. I won't even begin to pretend that I'm a fleet manager. I'm just a humble sales manager for Fleetio. We're a software provider and mobile application provider for fleets. We help folks improve and optimize their fleet operations. And so the new reality that I wanted to talk with you guys about today is 6 ways to improve your software utilization. And I think this is a great second topic following Maggie's, just because she hit on so many different things that are changing about the landscape with fleet operations in general, and specifically the way that technology plays a role in fleet operations. So you might be thinking that some of these topics that we're going to discuss aren't new. They're not a new reality. They're a matter of fact, they're very old realities, but there's new ways of doing things. There are new ways of thinking about things because technology is changing so much. So hopefully at the end of the short time that I have with you guys today, I've given you some ideas to think about as you're looking at different technologies, you're looking at different software programs, just some things to think through with your team when you're making these decisions. Let's see. So really just 2 major things I wanted to talk with you guys about. First and foremost is being able to increase the adoption and utilization of your software. The second is being able to get more data out of that software such that you can improve your decision making using data rather than the way things feel or feedback that you're getting from the field or from your technicians. Using data points and real KPIs and analytics and measurements is going to drive better decision making and ultimately provide that ROI out of your fleet system that everyone is looking for. So a big disclaimer, everybody knows this, but if you're one of those folks that says, yeah, we've got this great system, but just can't get anybody to use it. We've got this really awesome program that we bought, we spent a ton of money on it, but just nobody's using it. This is a problem that ultimately you have to take responsibility for. I mean, this is on your vendor as well. If they're a good partner, they're gonna help you utilize and make sure that your team is using the software as they should. But if you're not using the software, you're off to a bad start. You're losing from the get-go. And so again, this is one of those things I want to drill in today and hopefully give you some ideas on how you can increase the engagement that your team has with any solution that you might be using. So first and foremost is training. Now this is nothing new, nothing revolutionary here, but as technology changes, as software evolves, the way that training is done, the way that your users, your team members, and your staff interact with software and learn software is changing dramatically. So you just spent a bunch of money, you just went through an RFP process, you got a bid, whatever the case might be, you bought a new tool, so now what do you do with it? And one of the first steps is going to be training and understanding how to use it. So some things that you want to look out for is customization. Now I'm not talking about customizing the software, I'm talking about customizing the training offering. So the customization needs to be around your business, the way that you guys operate, the workflows that you have in place, the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Any good partner is going to understand those as part of the sales process, to the discovery process, to the implementation process. They need to understand what your business looks like from an operational standpoint and then customize the training to fit within that framework. The second thing is train within your instance. And what I mean by this is that there's certainly technologies out there that you can just buy off the shelf, just plug and play things, but for every one of those, there's going to be just as many that you can customize and configure and tailor to your business. And it's important that when you are training your users and your staff is going through this learning process, that they're learning it on the system that they're going to be looking at every single day. So get your data imported, customize the software to your liking, get your get your fields updated and the different words that you use, the way you describe things. Make sure all of that's in there before your training, such that your users, your team members, your staff are used to seeing that once it comes time to actually start using it. And then lastly, a good practice is to have the single point of expertise in your organization. So turnover is always a big issue. Changing software is a big issue. And so you certainly want everyone to be exposed to the tool and understand how to use the tool, but it's important that you have one single person that's your expert that you can go to for questions and ultimately facilitate the conversation between you and your vendor. This is going to save a lot of time in terms of just back and forth, trading off communication or redundant communication, but ultimately this is going to allow you to ease the burden of any lag in support response from your vendor or understanding where to go to find answers. Identify one person that's pretty tech savvy that understands the different moving parts within your organization and the different moving parts within that software, and it'll save you a lot of heartache. One other thing to look for, and this isn't on the slide here, but is what does ongoing training look like? So 2, 3, 4 years into the partnership, are there resources available? Are there trainings available for your users to either brush up on old topics or to understand new features and functionality that might be released? So getting training on the front end is highly important, but it's in your best interest to understand what ongoing training looks like down the line before you make that commitment. The second topic that I wanted to discuss was standardization. So as you guys know, any gaps in understanding, any gaps in consistency can ultimately lead to mistakes and ultimately people doing things their way. And I'm not going to suggest that anybody wants things done just their way, but organizationally you guys have to decide what are the best ways that we want to do things and standardize those things such that everybody is on the same page. So what do you need to standardize? So your operating procedures. What does, take one team member, a mechanic, a technician, a driver, administrator, whoever it might be, and sit there and think through what do they go through on a day-to-day basis? What does their day-to-day workflow look like? Maybe they interact with the fleet software, maybe they don't. But understanding what those processes are, have them written out, have them documented, so again, you have this place to go and look to find that source of truth based on the specific way that you want things done. So make sure that they're consistent, make sure that they're documented, and you've got that reference point to point back to in the future. In the fleet industry, we love acronyms. So I'm sure you guys have some special and unique acronyms that are specific to your organization, your department, your role, whatever it might be. So any naming conventions, any acronyms, any specific ways that you guys refer to things, those are important to have documented as well. If you have the opportunity to incorporate this into your fleet management system, it's all more important to make sure that this is documented and recorded somewhere such that, again, this is all consistent and standardized across all of your users, all of your departments, all of your vehicles, and the different areas of your business or organization that are going to be implemented in the software program. And then finally, role expectations. So who enters the data? Who does what? Does the administrator enter the work order or the payment? Is that up to the technician? Is that up to the customer? There's a million different scenarios of how data gets input into a software system. So understanding who has the expectation and the responsibility of getting that data into the system. Halfway there, so centralization. So some things to look for is there's lots of different technologies out there. You've got GPS, you've got fuel, you've got accounting systems, you've got asset management systems. So which one is going to be the single record of truth? Where is everything going to live? Technology has evolved in the sense that you can integrate all of this data. Maggie pointed this out a few different times, that you have an opportunity to put everything in one spot. And by putting everything in one spot, you can get more of the whole picture. You can get an idea of what things look like end to end. So identify what the record of truth is going to be, identify where different actions need to take place in those systems, and then identify where you're going to go to pull that information out. I'm going to skip the last one, we'll talk about that one on the next slide. So number 4 is automation. So we all know that human beings are prone to error. We screw up all the time. I've already skipped things that I meant to say in this presentation that I won't get back to. So anything that we can do to prevent human error is going to be a positive. It's going to allow you to further optimize and keep things accurate. So any recurring processes that can be automated by technology, look for that in your software vendors. Look for that in the functionality that you have available. Do you have the ability to import data in bulk? Do you have the ability to update fields in bulk or update your vehicle profiles, update your work orders? Anything that you can take advantage of to streamline and automate using technology, those opportunities are out there. That's going to be a good thing for you. And then lastly, who here knows what an API is? Good, me either. No, so an API is essentially just a wall plug that allows you to plug one system into another. I certainly don't understand the back-end technical aspects of this, but it allows you to take that data from one system, put it into another, and have that the different data points feed back and forth. This plays into that central record of truth and having that one spot to go and look for things. What is happening? There we go. Number 5, so real quick, just user stories. So I'm sure that every vendor that you guys work with have user groups or folks that you can talk to give a first-hand account of what the experience is like working with that vendor. Certainly ask for those types of things. Get those specific real-life stories of how they utilize the software. How are you implementing this in your day-to-day process? What are the best practices that you've come across that work really, really well using this specific vendor? Ask for that on the front end. I'm sure every vendor would be more than happy to provide that to you, and that's going to allow you to think about things in a real-life sense, and that's going to increase the implementation, the success of your implementation down the line. And lastly is reporting. So what's the point of capturing all of this data if you can't use it to make better decisions? So we already talked about identifying what system is going to be the central record of truth and how that plays into the whole picture. Getting your fuel data, your GPS data, your accounting data, your maintenance data, all in one spot to allow you to take all of those different data points, combine it into a single report that allows you to make a decision based off of that data. And then lastly, once you have everything in one spot, be able to segment it. So public works operates differently than police or emergency. So those are different decisions that need to be made. And so anytime you have an integrated reporting set, make sure that you're able to segment that data, filter your reports, or even customize your reports such that you can make decisions based on specific aspects of your operation. I know I talk fast, and we covered a lot in a very short amount of time. If you guys have any questions, or if you'd like to talk more about this or exchange any ideas, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I got to catch a flight, but I'll be around for a couple of minutes afterwards if you'd like to talk. Thanks so much.